everyone, and thank you so much for coming out on this freezing morning in solidarity for SCA. So let's have a big SOS SCA. SOS SCA! Thank you. We don't want to lose our art school. It's an extraordinary thing, and we've got some amazing speakers coming today to talk to you about why we need to keep Sydney College of the Arts. And I'm going to start with Barry Kaldulis, who's a Senate member for the Arts Party. So Barry, if you'd like to come over. Thank you, Barry.
Thanks, Beth. Unfortunately not a Senate member, but I was a candidate for the Arts Party. I too would like to acknowledge the traditional owners on the land on which we gather, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and acknowledge their elders past, present, and those we have yet to meet. Sydney is my hometown. And I like to think of it, I lived for many years in New York, but I think of Sydney as the New York of Australia. We are a city now of about 5 million people in a great state of 7.5 million people. And I wonder if our great leaders have a vision for this city as one of a centre of creativity. But it appears not. The vision, I think, extends probably to the extent of Hobart, which is a city of 217,000 people and one art school. I remember a number of years ago now having a meeting with one of the directors of our 3 schools, and they were telling me how the 3 directors got together every so often for lunch, and they talked about the difference between their schools and maintaining that diversity. That seemed to me like a good idea. Why maintain diversity? Because if you want to nurture the creativity in our young people, and even in our not so young people, you have to allow that those people aren't all the same. Some people are going to respond better to an academic, perhaps, style of teaching. Some are going to respond better to a more practical, studio-based style. So that diversity is important because art is not made by cookie cutter. If you just look around today, you'll see that there's a wide variety of people here today in support of Sydney College of the Arts and maintaining it as an independent school. That diversity is important, and I don't understand why that good idea of maintaining that diversity has suddenly become a bad idea. The obvious answer, I guess, is a land grab, and maybe it would make more sense if the wonderful old COFA, now UNSWAD, was folded into Sydney College of the Arts, so that those students there who suffer from an experiment in hot desking studio spaces were offered the opportunity to wander the capacious grounds of Sydney College of the Arts. However, that's not the proposal. In fact, quite the opposite, and it doesn't seem to make any sense to me. Perhaps if we were looking to churn out insurance clerks, homogeneity would be a good idea. If we want an innovation nation, why do we keep pulling the rug out from underneath our most creative peoples? Now, all this poly-speak, innovation nation, centre for excellence, it reminds me of another recent disturbing development, which was when Senator Brandis raided the Australia Council, and afterwards he bragged that he did it with absolutely no consultation whatsoever.
Shame.
And I am reminded constantly that this decision, no, I'm not going to call it a decision, I'm going to continue to call it a proposal to merge Sydney College of the Arts with UNSWAD. I'm reminded that this proposal was made with very little consultation with the people that it affects most, the students and the faculty.
With no consultation.
No consultation, in fact. I think that those people need a voice, and they need to be heard. So I'd like to actually urge you at this point to think about you as individuals and remind you that your voice as an individual is very small. And getting together like this, your voice may be heard. And in fact, I'd like to urge you, if you're not already members, to join NAVA, which also has had its funding cut substantially. But NAVA is a fantastic voice for our community. And I urge you to join NAVA, and not for the free newsletter, but join it and support NAVA so that NAVA can support you. I just want to finish by saying, let's save our art school and save SCA, and I'd like to hand over now to, I think we have a Polly here to speak with us. Is Albo here? Tim Silver, one of those fantastic artists who's graduated from SCA. Tim.
Thank you, Ben. Hello, thank you for being here. I completed my BBA at Sydney College for the Arts and later went on to do my postgraduate masters at College for the Arts, now University of New South Wales Art and Design. My decision to do so was based on not wanting a singular voice to inform my art education. If art is about a larger conversation, if it is about an exchange of dialogue, then that needs to happen first and foremost in its own locale as a first step. We cannot talk to the world if we do not know how to talk amongst ourselves. Anyone who suggests that a homogeneous experience of the arts is a step towards excellence clearly has no insight into the multifaceted ways the visual arts are informed. Indeed, the art inside this building here today would suffer for a lack of diversity, and we acknowledge that the art about to be unveiled here today in these exhibitions is only one small sample of the massive diversity our art institutions produce. A homogenised art will take decades for the rot to set in, occurring at the same time we celebrate what we have to lose. It will take many more decades to resurrect, and only then if there is a will. I've been fighting for the last 2 decades on primarily the same issue, but at no time more important than today. As our cultural leaders boast ever-increasing attendance figures to our institutions and rightfully demand their expansion, which we support, do we as Sydneysiders, a global city, I am informed, want to be a city that produces our own culture, our own stories, or only one which imports it from elsewhere? From the best available evidence to which has been made public, there is no merger between SCA and UNSWAT. This is a disappearance. It is a disappearance of a cultural legacy gifted to the University of Sydney under the so-called Dawkins Revolution. In 1993, as a young boy from Tasmania, I applied to 3 institutions: College for the Arts at UNSW, Sydney College for the Arts, and East Sydney Technical College, now National Art School. Sydney College for the Arts was the only institution which accepted me. As I stand here today with my art exhibited inside this building and celebrating many other international achievements, I ask you to consider that diversity isn't just the voices these art institutions produce, but those that they accept. There is no way, I believe, a singular art institution, no matter how excellent and how unexceptionally so those are choosing to lead such an adventure, can truly represent the diverse range of voices which make up our city of Sydney. Let's be clear for what we are fighting for: an infringement on our diversity, as artists, as people, as a city as different from Melbourne or Adelaide or Brisbane, as different as SCA, UNSWAT or NAS. A diversity of voices excites, it stimulates a confluence of opinions, a conversation. A singular voice is one, once again, no matter how excellent, is one easily controlled, even manipulated by the state. Today, I ask you to celebrate diversity, because anyone moronic enough to champion a singular centre for excellence without irony has been completely unaware of the arts debate of the last 12 months and do not deserve the privilege of leading our arts future.
Thanks, Tim, so much. The next speaker I'd like to called to the microphone is another supporter of the arts. So Anthony Albanese, I'd like you to come and talk.
Well, thanks very much, and I begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of country and pay my respect to their elders past and present. And I'm proud, as the newly elected federal member for Greenlaw, to have the Sydney College of the Arts in my electorate, and I'm proud with these students. Sydney is a great global city, and global cities value culture. They value the enrichment that the arts give. And it's appropriate that this demonstration of students and supporters of SCA take place outside the Archibald Awards that are taking place inside the Art Gallery of New South Wales. Because this magnificent institution has produced Archibald winners. This magnificent institution makes a difference to Sydney. A global city such as Sydney needs enrichment, it needs the arts, it needs diversity. And what it doesn't need is the commercial imperative overriding the cultural need of this city. And that is precisely what we are seeing here. The idea that Sydney College of the Arts is the same as an urban design faculty, is the same as other institutions at UNSW and serves the same purpose, misses the whole point. The whole point. SCA is also a focal point of the Inner West community. The Callan Park Master Plan, which the state government has refused to proceed with, sees the Sydney College of the Arts as being the catalyst for other arts and cultural activity at the Callan Park site. Not only have the students of SCA not been given any certainty about their future and what will happen to them from 2017, the local community, the businesses of Darling Street and Balmain Road that rely upon the students and the teachers for their living, the residents of the Inner West who are looking for Callan Park site to actually build the diversity and build the cultural activity that occurs around there, are concerned also about whether this is just an opportunity for a sell-off of that land or for inappropriate use of that land. The students I've met with have told me about the specific needs of the site, such as the print area that is available there, that has been used for many, many years. Art is something that you can't always just put a dollar figure on. It's something just like human interrelationships and human activity can't always be measured by the dollar. Human relationships are about much more than that. And that's why this struggle of the students is about more than just them. And I pay tribute to them, because what they're fighting for is the very nature of the way that we regard society, of the way that we regard education, of the way that it's more than something that just benefits the individual. It benefits all of us are enriched by education. And that is why federal Labor resisted the so-called Pine reforms and the $100,000 degrees and all of that. But what we're seeing here from the university hierarchy, and I've written to Mr. Spence on this issue, is again an institution such as Sydney Uni, that I'm a proud graduate of, being reduced to activity that's more and more commercial, that's more and more sees education as a transaction between an individual and an institution, rather than something that benefits the whole of society. So I say to the students here, congratulations, you look fantastic. And the local community stands with you in this struggle. This issue must be revisited, and it must be revisited in the interests of students, in the interests of the community, but most importantly, in the interests of this great global city and our reputation as a centre of arts and culture. Well done. I stand with you, and I'll continue to stand with you on this issue.
Thank you very much. I just stand before you today as a beneficiary of study at Sydney College of the Arts. And I'm a beneficiary of studying at Sydney College of the Arts, and it's a system that needs to continue into the future forever. All these students who are standing here, their education is directly under threat now, but they are fighting to protect the education of countless students who are going to miss out in the future. Sydney College of the Arts represents a studio-based practice and an incredible mentorship program, an intergenerational mentorship that is integral to a rich and vibrant life as an artist. Arts education is so complex, and the intimacy of a studio-based practice provides an entry point and support for all kinds of people, not just the students with big voices, and that kind of vibrancy will be lost. It's totally unacceptable, the closure of the art school, and I just stand with everyone today as one of the artists who's exhibiting inside the walls. That artwork and the artists who exhibit inside the walls here are the same artists that are standing in front of you, and these artists will be showing inside the walls one day, unless their arts education is murdered as it's happening at the moment. And I'd just like to thank AGNSW for supporting this protest so actively, because this visibility is really important to the voice of the Australian art scene.
I'm Agatha Goth-Snape. I'm an artist, and I studied at SCA as both an undergraduate and postgraduate student. My colleagues, many of whom continue to make work as artists of much note, were also my classmates at SCA, just like you see. SCA. Last night I was recalling some of my cohort who I went through Sydney College with. Mark Shorter, Biljana Jančić, Claire Millage, Johnny Nietzsche, amongst many others. What struck me about this group was its weirdness. Although I can imagine nothing more different than Rennie Codger's cock, Claire's marsupial sorcery, Biljana's unwavering formal and political discipline, and the smooth, unbroken sheen of Johnny's surfaces, I also see something common. And this commonality does not stop in my year group. Robin Back and Eugenia Raskopoulos, Jane Campion, Deborah Dawes, Michaela Dwyer, Anne Ferrin, Fiona Foley, Lindy Lee, Julie Frager, Sean Gladwell, David Griggs, Rosemary Lang, Fiona Lowry, TV Moore, Jackie Redgate, Tim Silver, Elizabeth Pewley, Koji Ruji, Shane Hazeman, Simon Yates, Michelle Hanlon, Nell, Gail Hastings, ADS Donaldson, Emily Hunt, Stuart Bailey, Justin Trendle, Justine Williams, Vicky Brown, David Haynes, Chris Hanrahan, Locust Jones, Tony Schwenson, Anna John. What is this quality? These are the artists we are all formed with and amongst. This is a type of art where responsibility, recalcitrance, refusal and resistance coexist. Where knowledge is formed in the making, in the visual and material thinking that we embark upon as we submerge ourselves in our practice. These practices, the ones produced by the frame of SCA, are always political, always informed by context, always social, always historically cogent, always materially resolved, and always willing to fail in their attempt to materialise. These are all iconoclastic artists. As we stand here on the steps of the art gallery this morning, we're the ones who employ strategies of refusal, generative irritation, and the seductive implications of surface. to their own ends, all the while upholding a sense of reverence towards the lineage into which we are born. Without the visual art education SCA provides, Sydney will slump further into cultural oblivion. Its mode of cultural production geared towards either the cynical marketing of keywords or the perpetuation of traditional forms geared towards sale in small Australian markets, unaware of the complex global context which frame them. I think we should all have a long, hard think about what we want tertiary education to be, but schools need to remain open to provide a context for discussing what works and what doesn't. We do not need more homogeneity in Australia, nor the complacency it breeds. The obliteration of SCA is certainly not conducive to critical and visual thinking in Australia. Shame on the University of Sydney for its lack of consultation with the student and staff body and the alumni community. We challenge Sydney University to demonstrate a genuine commitment to tertiary art education in Australia in line with the pledge of responsibility they made 25 years ago to act as a custodian of this cultural institution. A commitment to the ongoing operation of Sydney College of the Arts would represent an acknowledgement of the value of visual arts both within the university context and Australia. Creativity is innate, but culture is fostered. Apathy abounds in our society. Let it not fester within the arts. Let SCA continue to be the site of refusal, recalcitrance, resistance and responsibility, and the complex negotiation of citizenship such an environment cultivates. Save SCA!
We were recently in Amsterdam with our film Snow Monkey, and people came up with tears in their eyes and they said, what a beautiful film, but how can humanity come out of Australia? Australia is being associated with barbarity and cruelness, with unkindness. And it's the artists who are the image of this country, and the bastards that are running it are trying to destroy art and get rid of institutions like this. Our creative people are being as badly suppressed in Australia as Afghanistan, where we've been working. The bad government are the new Taliban of Australia, the bastards. Ellen.
I'm an ex-Sydney College of the Arts student. Where would I be without the support of an establishment like this? Who are these people that feel as though they can send out emails in the dead of night and destroy an institution that has been held close to our heart for decades? How dare they? Sneakily, they're sneaky, these people, aren't they? Our democracy has been stolen from us. Inch by inch, we're like the frog in the boiling pot. Suddenly we realise it's too late and we're boiled. Well, Sydney College of the Arts and its alumni are not going to be boiled like frogs in the boiling pot. We're not going to stand for it. I stand here wearing the clothes that I wore in Jalalabad, Afghanistan when I fought for the women's rights there. I stand here by absolute coincidence today. I'm totally, wonderfully surprised to see my beautiful students out here, and I stand before you in these same clothes fighting for the same rights on our own ground. That's right. I can see the police are over there. Come and join in the protest, boys. You're wearing the right colour. Boys and girls, if you're there. Mike Baird. Mike Baird. This is totally impromptu, but my God, what an appalling legacy. It's your legacy as a wrecking ball of ignorance. A wrecking ball of total barbaric stupidity. Shame, Mike Baird, shame. That's all I've got to say. Shame. Some wonderful art.
joking.